You ever get that feeling? That hum? Like the air's too still, like something's watching but nothing's there. Streets look the same. People keep smiling. But there's this buzz just beneath your skin, like the whole world is holding its breath. Not fear exactly, no, something older than fear. Like your name's been whispered into a storm you haven't seen yet. And the wind. Oh, it knows you. It knows what you've ignored, what you buried, what you swore you'd never deal with. It's not just noise anymore, it's a signal. And it's getting louder. They always say it's just coincidence, right? A flickering light. A number that keeps showing up. A dream that repeats. They laugh it off, you're being dramatic. They say you need rest. But deep down, somewhere between your ribs and your spine, you know. That wasn't a glitch in the system. That wasn't just another weird moment in a long line of forgettable days. No, that was deliberate. That was personal. The world doesn't just glitch like that around you unless something's reaching for you. Something that's been watching, waiting. And now it's calling. Not with a whisper. Not anymore, with a roar. And the name it's shouting is yours, but what do you do when the signs come? When everything ordinary starts to feel staged, like someone tilted the set and now nothing sits right. That store that's always open suddenly locked. That stranger who looks at you a second too long. That song you haven't heard in years suddenly playing everywhere. Oh, it's subtle at first, almost playful, almost like a game. But it doesn't stay that way, no. The game gets serious. And so do the signs, because when something bigger than you wants your attention, it doesn't tap politely. It kicks the door in. And the best part, nobody else sees it. They walk by like everything's fine. Their little routines, their little smiles trapped in their little loops. But you see it, don't you? The glitch. The break in the pattern. And for a second you wonder, am I losing it? But then it happens again. And again. And now it's not cute anymore. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, a language. One meant just for you. You see, when you're chosen, yes, chosen, the universe doesn't send a letter or a bouquet. It sends chaos, it sends disruption. It starts small, like a knock at the edge of your mind. Then louder, until everything in your life feels like it's vibrating just under the surface. That job you loved feels hollow. That friend you trusted, suddenly distant. That plan you made, crumbling. Because something bigger is trying to get through, and it's not interested in comfort. It's interested in truth. And the truth is your name isn't just being called. It's being summoned. Not for a party, for war, for purpose. For something that's been waiting for you to wake up. All this time you've been walking around like a background character in your own life, doing what you're told, smiling when you're supposed to, swallowing your questions. But now, the mask is slipping. The role doesn't fit. And that voice calling your name, it isn't asking. It's demanding. It's saying enough hiding so you start noticing more. The cracks in the conversations, the static behind the music, the look in people's eyes when they realize you see more than you're supposed to. You can't unsee it. You can't unknow it. Because now the signs aren't outside you anymore. They're inside. The pull, the restlessness, the knowing, and it's terrifying, isn't it? To realize you were never just living. You were being watched, groomed, prepared. They don't want you to know that. They want you numb. Distracted, comfortable in your little chaos. Because the second you realize you're being called, you start asking the dangerous questions. Why me? Why now? What am I supposed to do? And the moment you ask those questions, oh, you've already changed. Because questions are cracks. And cracks spread. And eventually they break the whole illusion wide open, but here's what they don't tell you answering the call. It costs. It costs your comfort, your reputation, your illusions. It strips you down until there's nothing left but what's real. And real is messy, real is raw. Real doesn't smile for the camera. Real shows up at midnight with dirt under its nails and eyes full of fire saying, "Get up, you're not done yet." And you feel it now, don't you? That pulse, that burn. That sound that isn't really a sound, just pressure. Like the universe leaning in close and whispering it's time. You've waited long enough. You've played small long enough. You've pretended long enough. The signs weren't random. They were rehearsals. The voice didn't pick a name out of a hat. It picked yours. They think ignoring it makes it go away. As if silence somehow resets the clock. As if pretending you didn't feel that shift in the room, that pressure in your chest, that shiver crawling up your spine, erases it. People walk around with blinders made of routine, duct taped to their faces with distraction, scrolling and smiling and nodding while the ground underneath them hums like it's about to crack open. But you can't ignore it, can you? Not anymore. That warning didn't whisper, it screamed. It wrapped itself around your bones and said, pay attention, but still there's that part of you trying to shove it down because facing it, oh, that would mean admitting something isn't right. And we can't have that, can we? We have to pretend everything's normal. We have to play nice, nod politely, make eye contact, laugh on cue. But meanwhile, everything in you is screaming that this isn't just a bad day. It's a siren, and not the kind that fades in the distance. This one's moving closer. And it's personal, you see. Ignoring the warning doesn't make you brave. It makes you vulnerable. Not the poetic kind, not the heart on your sleeve kind. No, the easy prey kind. The walking target kind. Because when something's coming, something big, something ancient, something hungry, your best defense isn't denial. It's awareness. But people don't like awareness. Awareness is messy. It makes you see things you wish you hadn't. It makes you feel things you'd rather forget. It forces you to act. And that's the last thing they want. They've built this little house of mirrors for you, haven't they? Pretty reflections. Familiar shapes. 1,000 versions of yourself, all nodding back at you like everything's fine. But take one step outside the frame and you'll see the cracks. You'll see the wires holding it together. You'll hear the static in the silence. And once you see it, you can't go back. That's the danger of truth. It's a one-way ticket. And baby, you've already punched yours, so what now? Do you go back to pretending? Patch up the cracks with a smile and a quote from a motivational poster? Or do you face the warning head on? Do you admit that the shift you feel isn't fear, it's instinct? And instinct doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't wait for permission. It pulls you out of the fire or it pulls you into it, depending on whether you're listening. Are you listening? Because when danger comes, it doesn't show up in costume. It doesn't knock politely and ask if now's a good time. It moves in through the silence. It stares at you through the faces of people you trust. It slips into your dreams and wraps its fingers around your throat, smiling. And if you're not ready, if you've nurtured the warnings, laughed off the signs well, you won't even see it until it's too late. You ever seen someone snap? Not in the movie way. Not with drama and music and lights. I mean really snap, quiet, sudden. Like something just shut off behind their eyes. That's what happens when you ignore too many warnings. The mind can only hold so much pretending before it caves in. The soul can only be silenced for so long before it starts screaming in ways the body can't hide. That twitch, that sleepless night, that sudden rage, it's all part of the message, all part of the call. And it only gets louder the more you ignore it. They won't tell you this, but danger is mercy in disguise. It shakes you for a reason. It's not here to ruin you. It's here to wake you. Because somewhere along the line you stopped late. You got comfortable. You got slow. You started calling your cage a home and your numbness peace. And now the danger is the only thing loud enough to cut through the noise. To remind you that you are not safe, not because the world is bad, but because you've been sleeping through a storm and pretending it was a lullaby. So go ahead, ignore it, laugh it off. numb it with noise. But don't say you weren't warned. Don't say the signs weren't there. Don't say you didn't feel that heartbeat in the walls or hear your name echo where no one was standing. Because the moment you choose silence over truth, you hand over the keys. You say, I'd rather be comfortable than conscious. And the moment you say that, well, you don't get to be surprised when the dark shows up and you're the only one who didn't bring a Brit-Britty. How we cling to things, titles, jobs, relationships, old versions of ourselves as if they're lifeboats in a sea that's already swallowed the ship. People build their lives on routines like bricks, stack them high, paint them with pretty colors and call it a castle. But the foundation, oh, that's just dust held together by denial. And when the shaking starts, and it will start, they act shocked. Shocked that their masterpiece crumbles. Shocked that everything they thought was permanent turns out to be paper thin. That's the thing about comfort, it's a hell of a drug. It whispers sweet nothings, sings lullabies, and feeds you just enough dopamine to keep you distracted from the fact that nothing around you is actually stable. Nothing is certain. Nothing is forever. Not that job you sacrifice your soul for. Not that image you bleed yourself dry to maintain. Not even the people you swear would never leave. Everything is temporary. But say that out loud and they'll call you negative. Bitter. Crazy. Oh no, we can't have that. Better to stay inside the box. Better to nod politely as the ground starts to split. You can feel it, can't you? That tension in the air, that hum underneath the surface. It's not just in your head. You're not being paranoid. You're being prepared. The shaking isn't random. It's surgical. It targets the things that no longer serve you. The structures built on lies, the habits dressed up as identity. The people who smile while tightening the leash around your throat. One by one, it takes them apart. Not to punish you, to free you. But freedom, there's the punchline, it always comes with fire, and fire doesn't ask what you'd like to keep. It doesn't tiptoe around your nostalgia. It burns everything that cannot stand. And you're standing in the middle of it, not because you're cursed, not because you did something wrong, but because you're ready to let it all fall away, ready to stop pretending that the life you built was ever really yours, ready to see what's left when the masks melt and the walls come down. That's what the shaking is for. It doesn't just knock. It rips. But most people, they don't want that kind of truth. They want comfort. Even if it's killing them. They'll crawl back to the familiar, beg for the cage they just escaped from. As long as it feels warm. As long as it gives them something to cling to. Because letting go, that's terrifying. Standing alone in the ashes with nothing but your bare soul. That's madness. Or so they think, but you're different. You feel it in your bones. You've outgrown this place, this version of yourself. You're suffocating in a life that doesn't fit anymore. And every time the ground shakes, you feel a twisted kind of relief. Because part of you wants it to fall. Part of you is done pretending. Done shrinking. Done silencing that voice inside that's been screaming for years. And maybe, just maybe, the collapse isn't a curse, it's a calling. So let it shake. Let it crumble. Watch the pieces fall. Watch the people leave. Watch the illusions burn. Because what's left, what's real, is what can't be shaken. What can't be bought or faked or stolen. What's left is you, stripped down, raw, awake. And maybe that's all you ever needed. Not the fake peace. Not the quiet death of comfort. But the beautiful, chaotic, uncontrollable freedom of becoming what you were always meant to be. They'll say you changed. Of course they will. They'll say you're different, unstable, reckless. That's their language for liberated. Because nothing terrifies the asleep more than someone who's fully awake. Someone who doesn't flinch when the shaking starts. Someone who welcomes the storm like an old friend. They don't understand it. And they never will. But that's not your concern. You weren't made to fit in the mold. You were made to break it. And now the mold is cracking. The roles are collapsing. The scripts are burning. And through it all you remain. Not because you fought the shaking, but because you let it happen. You let it tear down what wasn't yours. You didn't run. You didn't beg. You stood in the middle of the wreckage and smiled because deep down, you knew this was never destruction. It was excavation. It was revelation. It was the beginning of something real. Silence, what a strange little lie people tell themselves in the noise. They plug their ears, close their eyes, hum their favorite distraction, and pretend nothing's happening outside their tiny bubble. But it's coming. Oh, it's coming fast. It doesn't care about your job title, your filtered selfies, your designer pain disguised as success. It slips through cracks in your routine, settles into your gut, and starts whispering truths you've spent years pretending not to hear. And those whispers, they're getting louder. You ever notice how quiet the room gets right before something snaps? That stillness, that eerie hush. That's not peace, that's the warning. That's the countdown. It's the calm before the unraveling. But most people don't hear it because they're too busy keeping up the act, lights, camera, delusion. Pretend you're happy, pretend you're safe. Pretend the roof isn't caving in inch by inch. Smile for the camera. Meanwhile, deep down, the foundations are screaming, but here's the twist, the thing coming. It's not just some random storm. No, 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 it's custom built, tailored, personal. It knows your name. It knows your secrets. It knows every mask you've ever worn and every lie you've fed yourself to sleep at night. And it's not coming to destroy you. That would be too easy. It's coming to expose you, peel you open like a wound and show you what's really been hiding underneath the skin you call identity. People think they can outsmart it, plan around it. If they just post the right quotes, light enough candles, manifest enough vibrations, it'll pass them by. But the truth, it's already inside. It's been watching, waiting. It knows when you bite your tongue instead of speaking the truth. It sees when you stay in places your soul outgrew 5 breakdowns ago. It watches you trade authenticity for acceptance like it's some kind of currency. And it laughs because the warning doesn't come in thunder. It doesn't come in headlines. It comes in sleepless nights. In that sinking feeling you get when you wake up and realize you're living someone else's life. In the quiet panic that creeps in when the lights are off and there's no audience to perform for. That's when it shows up. That's when it whispers. You hear that? That's not anxiety. That's reality knocking. You can't outrun what's meant for you. And you sure as hell can't pretend your way through it. The show's over. The curtain's on fire and your script blank. No more rehearsed lines. No more polished lies, just you. The raw version. The one you buried under years of shoulds and expectations and survival mode smiles. And oh, what a beautiful mess that version is. Terrifying, isn't it? To realize you don't really know who you are without the roles, without the labels, without the applause. Just a heartbeat and a name being called out by something bigger than you ever dared to imagine, but you can feel it now, can't you? That rising tension in your chest, that itch in your soul, that pull away from everything that used to feel comfortable. It's not random, it's not madness, it's the signal. The flare in the dark, the whisper turning into a scream, the call that's been ringing in the background of every fake smile and empty conversation. And now it's too loud to ignore. You don't have to understand it. You're not supposed to. This isn't about logic. This isn't about planning. This is about listening. Listening to what hurts. Listening to what no longer fits. Listening to the silence that isn't really silence anymore, but a siren in slow motion. You thought you had more time. You thought you could wait until it was convenient. But it doesn't work like that. It never did. You were never meant to sleep through this part. They told you to be still, to be polite, to be patient. But what they really meant was be obedient. Be quiet. Don't make waves. But now the water's rising, and it's calling your name, not the name you wear in public, the real one, the buried one, the one carved in your soul before you ever picked up all these masks. And that name, oh, it's echoing now, echoing through the cracks, through the silence, through the chaos. Because the warning isn't coming. It's already here. You ever watch people walk through life like they're in a museum? Hands behind their backs, whispering to themselves, afraid to touch anything real. Everything fragile, everything delicate. Oh no, don't raise your voice. Don't ask too many questions. I don't step out of line. They built this place with invisible fences and then handed out blindfolds. And the best part, most people put them on willingly. Happy prisoners, smiling while they choke, but sometimes someone starts noticing the cracks. Little things, you know. The way their soul twitches when they say I'm fine. The way their heartbeat changes when they lie to themselves. The way they avoid mirrors because deep down they're terrified of seeing what's looking back. And when you notice those cracks, you start to pull. Just a little tug. Just enough to see if the walls are hollow. And guess what? They are. Oh, they are. You weren't born to follow the map someone else scribbled in panic. You weren't made to sit at a desk, punch a clock, pay a bill, and call it life. But that's what they sold you, isn't it? Wrapped it up in guilt and duty and a whole lot of this is just the way things are. And you bought it. Of course you did. Everyone does. At first. Until that itch starts. That gnawing sense that something's off. That everything feels too quiet, too tame, too rehearsed. Like the world's on mute, but your insides are screaming they'll tell you you're selfish. That you're ungrateful for wanting more. That you should just be happy you've got food on the table and a roof over your head. But what they really mean is don't leave the cage. If you leave, it'll remind me I'm still in mine. Misery loves company after all. Especially when it's dressed up as normal. But you're not normal, are you? No, no, no. There's a flicker behind your eyes. A crack in your smile. Something feral that never really learned how to behave.